The Beat It solo, the one and only, one of the most famous guitar solos of all time. I'm going to show you all the little tricks and licks that you never knew about, and I'm going to show you how to make it as easy as possible to play. So what we're going to do is we're going to slacken off the strings with the whammy bar. Yeah. And then we're going to hammer on from nowhere onto the 2nd fret with the middle finger. And we're going to use the index finger to support it as well. And we're going to release the bar gradually, and then we're going to keep bending until we reach this B note. So we're going to go. And then we release the bend. And we do this cheeky little bit. So we're going to slide up to 7, and we're going to tap a harmonic on the 14th fret. Now Ed uses his index finger for this, and he tucks the pick with his middle finger back here like this. But if you prefer, you can use your middle finger and then slide it up to 9, and we're actually going to do the same fret with the harmonic. Genius. Because this here is the 7th fret harmonic of this note, but then here it's the 5th fret harmonic. Genius. All right, so we have. And of course put a little bit of vibrato on that as well. Such a brilliant way to start a solo. No picking at all. So the next part. Alright, so now we've got this great little tapping lick. So before I teach the whole lick, I just want to teach you the raw concept behind it. So there is a pattern at play here. It's a little bit disguised because of the first 3 notes, but once the pattern starts, you'll see it. So the pattern goes like this. We tap 15, pull off to 14, 12, 10. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. What is that? Sounds Christmassy. All right, and then we go. We add a 5th note with the pinky finger, and that is our pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you want to get solid at that before you add anything to it. And then what we're going to do is we're only going to play that 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then on the 3rd time, instead of hammering on back onto the E string, we're going to hammer on from nowhere onto the 14th fret of the B string. So this is a technique Ed often used during his tapping to change string. So it sets up that string, it gets it vibrating in time for him to tap it. And then we repeat the pattern there twice. So we have 5 times. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then instead of ending with our usual 14, we finish off with the middle finger going 12. Ring finger 13. And then we pull off back to 12. So we go 12, 13, 12. So those notes are much slower there. Now that time I added the preceding 3 notes that begin the lick. So I omitted these notes because they muddle up the pattern a bit. You kind of want to think of these as prequel notes, the episode 1 of notes, if you will. So we start off by just going 1, 2, 3, just like our usual eruption style tapping pattern. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start the lick. So we just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the notes don't have to be perfectly spaced or equal or anything like that, but you do roughly want to land on that with the middle and ring finger. You want that to land on the beat. Now if you listen to Ed slow this down, the notes aren't perfectly even. It's a little bit ragged, and that is fine. It adds to the texture and the sound of it. So don't stress too much over making that sound perfectly even. You just want it to sound roughly even. You don't want it to sound like... Sounds bagpipey when you play it like that. Has anyone ever done a bagpipe version of this song? I would like to see that. So it's pretty incredible that we've got this far through the solo and we haven't picked a single note. But that's about to change as we get into the next lick. All right, so this next lick is one that everyone gets wrong, including me for a long time. So we start off with this lick by barring the first two strings on the 12th fret. And we're going to be stretching the middle finger up to 15 and the pinky up to 19. All right, so first of all, I'm going to show you the pattern that exists within this lick, and then I'm going to show you the notes before and after. Now, when I play this lick, I find it helps to adjust the guitar a bit to really help the wrist stretch out as much as possible for this one. All right, so now I'm in my stretch position. We're going to play the 12th fret, and then we're going to just hammer on with the pinky to 19, pulling off to 15, and then pulling off to 12. So we're going to go... And then lastly, we're going to hammer on to 19 with the pinky like this. Now adding a slight palm mute to this lick can tighten it up just that little bit more. And you really want your hand in that kind of sideways position. I imagine Ed would have been tempted to play this live with the guitar in the upright position, just like when he played the Ice Cream Man lick, because it helps you stretch better. All right. So we're going to play that 3 times. And then we're going to finish by going like this. We're going to sweep up. We're going to go... And we're going to sweep all the way to 14 with the ring finger. Whole cross buns. And then we're going to finish it off with a bend up to the tonic. So I started the lick from the pattern, but there are 8 notes that precede it, and it looks like this. 1, 2, 3. So now we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we pull off to 15. And then we pull off to 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we hammer on from nowhere to the B string on 19. So we go, and then we start the repeating 5-note lick I just taught you. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so the next little chunk looks like this. We're going to resume it from this part here. Alright, so there's a lot going on here as well. So we're going to start off by that bend up to the tonic. That is our checkpoint. So we're going to go. So we're going to bend and then pull off to 12 and then hammer on back to 15. So go. And then we're going to play the tonic with the index finger with our tap, and we're going to go. This is a cool little technique of Ed. So he'll tap a note, but he'll slide it straight away. So he's basically just going like this, but he's doing a slide as he does it. And we just do 2 of those. So we go, and then we're going to hammer on from nowhere to the 14th fret of the G. So we're going to go. So from the tapped note, we're going to slide it up twice. And then we're going to hammer on from nowhere. So this is one of those notes that most guitarists would assume is actually picked. But it's not. So much of Eddie's playing is not picked. He does those hammer-ons from nowhere all the time. It's a real hallmark of his playing, and it really helps you with that effortless style that he manages to get, but almost nobody who plays his music manages to get. So we're going to do the hot cross buns bend from nowhere, release, pull off, and then we're going to pull off to our open G. So we're going to go. And then we finish off with this part. So this is also quite a tricky thing to do. So while you're doing the whammy dive, you've got to get ready to play this 9 here, but you want to pluck it at the same time you release the bar like this. On top of that, you want to bend it. We're going to bend it up to 11. And here's the hard part. You have to do a pinch harmonic while you do it. There it is. All right, so you want to find that sweet spot and kind of practice that. Make a mental note of where on the string you get that sweet spot. And we do the hot cross buns again. And then we're just going to do our token whammy dip where we go hammer on, whammy dip, pull off. It helps too if you do a rake into that pinch harmonic. So to practice this lick authentically, you really do need to go from the open, because that makes it so much harder. But that's how it's going to be in battle conditions. Great lick. It's such a Van Halen style lick, how he does that at the end of it. I think how little Eddie used the pick really contributed to the contour of his licks, because so few of the notes would be picked that other notes would have to be hammer-ons or slides or whammy bar. So it creates a more vowel-like character rather than a like say Yngwie or a guitarist who picks a lot would use. Not better, not worse, just different. All right, so that whole bit goes. So as usual, we will be going into all of these techniques so much deeper in Shred Like Ed. We're going to be doing drills, we're going to be doing improv videos, and we're going to make it as easy as possible for you to not only grasp these licks, but take them away and use them in your own playing and improvising. All right, next up, we have the open string pull-off lick, which goes like this. So this is a really great lick because all we're doing is that movement of going 5, 3, 0, 5, 3, 0, 5. Many of Eddie's licks really favour that ring finger and index finger, because it's so much easier to just coordinate 2 fingers than it is 3 fingers or 4 fingers. And what we're going to do on all the 5s is a whammy dip. So you want it to kind of sound a little bit out of tune for a moment. That reminds me of a harmonica for some reason. Great lick. So we do that 4 times. 2, 3, 4. And then we go into this cheeky little pinch harmonic. This is probably my favorite note of the solo. And it's probably the hardest note of the whole solo as well. So what we're going to do is that same as the very first note. Middle finger with the support of the index finger, and we're going to bend it up to B. But we're going to do a pinch harmonic at the same time. Now, if you're holding your pick with the Eddie style grip, which I really recommend, middle finger and then the index finger just kind of sits on the side there. If you can do that, you'll find your thumb is better positioned to just really lightly graze the string and give you those perfect Eddie sounding pinch harmonics. Because when he did pinch harmonics, he usually wouldn't do them in a really clean way where you only hear the harmonic. He would leave a bit of the string in there as well. So that's quite a clean harmonic. You kind of just hear one sound there. But if I say do this, in that one you can hear there's a bit of the string and the overtone, and it gives it more of a meaty, gristly kind of sound. Now the trick to that is to not really crush the string, but just brush it with your thumb on the way past. That's a good one. So it's one of those notes that might take a lot of practice to really find the sweet spot on your guitar on that G string. And then we're going to head into this little Clapton lick. Great little lick. So all we're doing is we're sliding up to the major third with the middle finger, and then index finger on 12 like this. Which is very odd because the song is very much not major. It's in E minor. But this goes by so quick you don't really hear it. And then we're going to bend up to that E note. So really genius. Classic blues move. Blues players love to play a note and then play the same note on a different string, maybe with a bend. It gives it so much more texture, and it allows you to take just two notes and make a melody from it. And Ed was a master of that. Ed was actually very bluesy in his playing, and I think that's what set him apart from most of the other shredders who didn't have that soulful thing going on that he did. And we want some healthy vibrato on that note. All right, now we do this cool little bit where we go. Great lick. So we're going to take that 12-12 and we're just going to sweep it up like this. And then down on the 15, so we go. And then we're just going to finish off with this little lick where we go up, up on the 12, and then up again on the 14. So we're going to go up, 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 then release, pull off, and then we're going to pluck the 14. Brilliant. So we go. So much said with so few notes. Very bluesy. All right, and then we're into more tapping. All right, so this little lick, this is to outline the C major chord. So you want to have that index finger barring the 8th fret on the first two strings. And all we're going to do is, the pinky is on the 12th fret, the index finger is on the 15th fret. And we're just going to go 1, 2, 3. And we're just going to repeat that pattern alternating between the strings like this. Now rhythmically, think of those first 3 notes as a lead in. So let's skip those for a moment and we'll start on the first string. So this part is just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got this part which is our lead in, and then we just do 4 times. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, in the tab, I've written it very basically as that, but there's more sophisticated things happening with the timing. Instead of writing that in, I thought I would just explain it to you. So what we're going to do is start slow. Almost like you're doing 16th notes. And then gradually speed up towards the end of the bar. And by the time you're at the end of the bar, you're going to be doing a lot faster than 6 notes per beat. It'll probably be more like 8 notes per beat. But don't worry about it. You just want to get to that tapped 17, which is the first note of the next bar. So you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And all we're going to do here is middle finger goes to 10, and we're going to tap 17, 17, 17. Just do that 3 times. And then leading into the next lick, we have a little surprise. I only found this out yesterday when I had to listen to the isolated guitar. I thought it went like this. But it actually has a little, before we go, if If you listen to the isolated track, you'll hear this. So we go. So what does that look like? All we do, you just want to think those middle two 12s. We're going to use the index finger to slide into them like this. And then we're going to do an up pick. But the up pick is more on the B string and G string like this. Either way, don't sweat it. This is just filler to get you to... It's a really clever way to get there because the open gives you time to really set. So here we're doing a unison bend. Index finger on the 12th fret and then ring finger on the 15th fret. All right, and then we get the tremolo picking happening. So if you've never done this kind of tremolo picking before, the real secret to it is to make sure your wrist kind of sticks out at an angle because that allows your hand to pivot a lot faster. The aim isn't to have a tiny small motion here. You kind of want efficient and almost lazy motion. So if you've never done this, I recommend just sitting on one note and just practice doing that just on that one string. Quite a wild, uncontrolled movement. You just want to get the string in range of the belt sander. And the middle finger pick grip makes this even easier as well. All right, so we're going to go. So all we're doing is we're going. Nothing too interesting or clever with the note choice, but the tremolo picking really is a fantastic way to end this solo. So we're obviously bending from 22 up to 24 while we keep doing the tremolo picking. Now, you might notice my index finger is quite busy here as well because from this point onwards, we no longer have our token rock metal guitar position of keeping the bass strings muted. Because when you're doing the tremolo picking, your hand has to be out there like this. You can't really do it from here. You won't get the same effect. So as soon as I switch over to using my ring finger, the index finger is going to try and shush some of those strings, especially the B, the G, the D string. So we're going to go. Now, if you do get a bit of ring, it's not the end of the world. People are going to hear this more than they'll hear that. Now that actually isn't the end of the solo. There's still one more vital component. All right, I think I've scratched this pick up too much. So I'm going to swap sides and see if that helps. That's a bit better. This is why Eddie went through so many picks on stage. Every time you do a pick scrape, you kind of ruin the pick. New pick, please. So the trick with a good pick scrape is to use a thin pick. Don't use a thick pick, use a really thin one. It'll help get all these licks sound much more authentic as well. And all we're doing is we're putting it on the two thickest strings. And we're dragging it down. All right, shredders, so that is Beat It. If you want to learn more about any of these licks, if you want to learn more about Eddie's pick grip, if you want to learn all of those great little licks from Eruption, like or then check out Shred Like Ed. You can download the tones and you can get started learning these licks today. All right, shredders, thanks for watching. Check out one of these other videos.